Paul Getter, the internet marketing nerd here. You're going to love this episode. I interviewed Don, who is an influencer from the UK, and he shows us step by step how he got a trip to 10 countries for free. And he has 0 followers. He's going to show us step by step how he did it. Not only that, he shares with us several side hustles he's doing to make a lot of money. Hey, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click the notifications button, the like button, comment, do all that fun stuff. Check this out. Hey, Paul Getter, the internet marketing nerd here today. I'm with Dom Hadley. He is across the pond and he is doing some amazing things. Hey, Dom, it is awesome to have you here. How you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So you've got an amazing YouTube channel and you're just like this explorer, adventurer, doing really fun, cool, amazing stuff. Tell people a little bit about yourself and what you're doing and what you've done.
Perfect. So my name is Dom Hadley. I am a content creator and like an influencer on Instagram and YouTube. My main basis is around YouTube. I'm also an entrepreneur. I kind of specialize in like the fashion industry. So I'm really into my like vintage clothing, but I also do it in like videos, like blogging. I also try and help promote other people to make money because I'm a young guy. I'm 22 years old. I'm a uni student. So honestly, it can be hard sometimes to have money. So I try and help people set up their businesses, kind of promote through like photography, videography, everything like that. And then I also use my platform to create my own business, which is called Payday Vintage, where I sell my vintage clothing.
Really cool. So first question I have to ask you, is your accent real?
Is my accent real? Yeah, that is real. I speak very quickly. When I was in America, a lot of people found it hard to understand me.
No. So I've got a good friend who he's from English, has a British accent. I always joke around. I'm like, man, are you just trying to sound like Harry Potter or something?
Harry Potter. I'm more Northern England. So I don't quite speak like the Queen. I just quite speak like this.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I love it. Every now and then I try to fake the accent and people are like, no, that's Australian. That's not British. I'm like, well, I'm confused. So
yeah, a lot of times when I was went to California, a load of people thought I was Australian. And especially in Philadelphia, they were like, you're from where Ben Simmons is from. And I'm like, no, he's Australian.
That's Australia. So us silly Americans can't distinguish the accents properly. So, fantastic. Well, you'll see in the United States, everybody has a different accent. You know, you've got the Southern accent, you've got New York, Boston accent. So you've got 100 different types of accents here just in the United States. But yeah, so you are in university right now and on your YouTube channel. So you came over to the United States for kind of an exchange. How did that happen? What gave you the idea? Let me do this.
Surprisingly, that was one of the main reasons as well. I wanted to go to university to do a year abroad because I thought it's the best opportunity to kind of do a feasible year abroad without spending too much money, because obviously it's a partnership with the universities. So I was actually out there studying. I do international business, so it was kind of perfect for my course. But I basically chose to do like the smallest contact hours in uni because I wanted to create a lot of videos. I was in Philadelphia, so the access to Philadelphia and obviously New York was 2 hours away on the bus. So I'd go every other week, especially for my fashion content. There's like Charlotte New York Fashion Week. Obviously there's always a load of fashion shows on, parties, all the amazing stores. So I just kept going to create content, meet. Obviously networking is one of the biggest things nowadays in business. So there's so many content creators in America. And then I was out there for 10 months and just tried to like meet. That's why I kind of got into photography. I realized that being a photographer is the best way to network because everyone nowadays needs content. So if you take a photo of someone, then you have like an ability to get their contact details. Whereas if I just said, oh, I'm a YouTuber, here's my number, they have no obligation to contact you. Whereas if you do a photo, then you can instantly, and that's kind of how I ended up shooting at Fashion Week. I somehow came across an event, pretended I was the photographer there, got a few photos. It was a Montclair party, and then I ended up getting invited to Fashion Week, and I shot like 4 shows at Fashion Week.
Wow, incredible! So that's a pretty big gig for a photographer to get.
Exactly, but I'm mainly a videographer, so I don't even have a photography camera. So I just had to. But then from that, I got invited to like 2 other shows. I don't know how. They got my contact email, and they thought I was like made out like I was like a photography team because they were like, they emailed me saying you can bring your team with you, and I was thinking,
you're like, me and my team right here.
Luckily, I took a photography class in uni, so you could rent out the cameras for free. So I just was renting out the really expensive, like $6,000 cameras, and then just using that.
Wow, brilliant, brilliant. I remember when I first got started in business, that I would go to important meetings, and I knew it was kind of expected that I would come with my team. And so I would call up my friends. I was like, hey man, put on a suit and tie, and call up a few people, put on a suit and tie, just go with me to this meeting. And so we would show up to this meeting. I'm like, oh yeah, this is John. He is our director, and this is Frank. And it's just like, this is my team.
Yeah, it works though. It makes you look more professional.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would imagine that coming over to United States, that you had to be creative in some ways to make money and to hustle. So what are some of the things that you did in addition to, so you did photography, what else? How did you monetize that? How did you make money doing this?
So obviously photography, so I had like 4 different revenue streams. So I had the photography, which I started out doing for free, because there's a lot of people who are creatives in America. There's much bigger population than England. So I started in Philadelphia, just searching the hashtag like Philadelphia models, Philadelphia, and just messaging any person who had a decent following saying, oh, I'll shoot some photos for you for free. And obviously from that word of mouth, they spoke to their mates, and then once people start contacting you, and I'd also ask other photographers what they were charging, and I just undercut them, because obviously I just didn't need too much money while I was abroad. Sure. And then I have my YouTube channel, so you get paid from ad revenue as you. Do you do YouTube actually, Paul?
No, so I just started my YouTube channel. I've got like a whopping 500 subscribers or something like that. So
you've got a million on Instagram, so you'll be getting there.
Yeah. So that's one of my objectives this year, is to really build out my YouTube channel. And so connecting with people like yourself and kind of partnering and doing shared content, so I realize the importance of YouTube.
And for doing money videos, that's the highest AdSense as well. Education and because they advertisers would like to pay the most money for how to make money videos. So
yeah, I will try to think of something to say. So, so that's a brilliant technique. So you're a photographer, and so I'm imagining that any photographer wanting to get started could do the same thing. That they could go into Instagram, find hashtag, whatever the name of the city is, models.
Yeah, 100%. And then Facebook groups as well. That was the best one, and it was really good because obviously I wanted to make more videos and stuff, so it was a good way to network with people.
Sure.
As well.
And then it started to transition into kind of a paid model where you're getting paid from it?
Yeah, paid from it. So I was charging around $25 an hour by the end.
Nice. Well, that's great. So you're renting the cameras from the university.
Yeah.
Nice cameras. And so this is a fantastic idea for a college student that wants 100%. To get into photography, maybe he's taking the photography. A lot of times people are like, well, put up some ad and they just wait for people to come to them because they're a photographer. You actually went out and started volunteering your work. Yeah. And then the door opened into paid.
Obviously then you can kind of show what your work. I think you should do that in kind of any field. You need to show what your work before just people aren't just going to randomly pay for you unless you're like a complete professional. But a lot of people don't have the budget to like pay for expensive photographers. For example, I'm just shooting people with 2 outfits. I don't want to pay like $200 just for a 2-hour shoot. That's
right.
Especially college students, they can't afford that.
Yeah. Fantastic. So that was one of your revenue streams, was photography. Tell people a little bit more as far as streams of revenue that you begin to put in place.
So the main one that I make the most revenue is from my business. So it's called Payday Vintage. We basically sell, obviously sustainable fashion is very on the trend at the moment. So secondhand vintage clothing. So I do it in partnership. So I have my partner who's in England. And so when I went to America, the thrift stores in America, they're so cheap. So like, I can't believe how cheap they are. Mm-hmm. So the clothes would be like, I could find like Burberry, Ralph Lauren for like $1 clothes. And then I'd keep them in bulk, vacuum seal them, and then ship them back to England. So then he put them, and then obviously because it's secondhand clothes, the value is obviously really cheap so the customs isn't too high, and then we'd sell them back in England. And obviously, because stuff like Tommy Hilfiger, Ralph Lauren, Nautica, they're all US brands, so it's really cheap. Whereas in England, there's a higher margin for it, so then we ship them back and sell them in England on our website.
Wow, fantastic. So what type of money could you generate in doing that? So you're going to thrift stores, finding those...
Yeah, so you could literally, we'd always aim to have over 200% profit margin on each piece, on every single item we go. Because, for example, sometimes I found in one store, I found a pair of Gucci trainers for $25. I sold them for $450.
Wow.
I just gave him a click, because I do my fashion videos, so I know what clothes sell. And the good thing as well with these clothes is once I got these clothes, before I wanted to sell them, when I did these photography shoots, I'd be like, oh, could you model these clothes as well? So then they'd have clothes to shoot them in. So then I'd get content for my business, get content for my photography pages, my portfolio, as well as then having model photos to sell the clothes and make money. So it'd be like they all work together.
Man, it was a double hustle right there. So it's like, oh yeah, I've got this vintage clothing. You'd look great in it. Can I take some pictures?
Yeah. And then, because then you say you're going to post them on our Instagram, because our business Instagram's got quite a big following, so that's why they'd be happy to get on that follow, because it'd help their followers grow. So then it's like a never-ending cycle. Yeah,
that's fantastic. So where would you sell the clothes at? You would buy them from thrift stores? You have a store?
So I'd either, obviously the faster ones I'd sell in America, so I'd use sites just as either our website, apps like Depop, Grailed, eBay, Poshmark, and then sometimes some I just sell to college students, because there's quite a load of I found, because I'm into the know with the whole clothing, there's quite a few vintage clothing events. So it's like people sell these events, you buy a stall for like $50 for 5 hours, your spot, and then people come, and it's kind of like a yard sale kind of thing, but just for clothing sellers.
Okay, so let's break this model down just a bit, because I think this is probably something that any college student could do, a stay-at-home mom, really anyone could do this.
100%.
So you go to thrift stores and you have an idea of what you're looking for.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Okay, so it's certain brand clothing that you know, okay, this is valuable, and you might buy it for $5, $10, and then let's say an average weekend, how much would you spend buying from thrift stores? And then
probably spend around, depending on, because some of them obviously are really cheap, and some of them I just go to some secondhand stores, so they kind of know their price. But I spend around like $100 to say $200.
Okay, so you spend a couple $100 on the weekend at these thrift stores, yard sales, finding vintage clothing. And vintage is just a fancy way of saying used clothing.
100%.
But vintage just sounds so much more appealing. Vintage, instead of used clothing, it's vintage clothing. I love 100%.
It. And the reason as well why people love vintage so much is because kind of the whole sense with designer clothes. People buy designer clothes because they want something that other people can't have.
Yeah.
So vintage clothing, you kind of get that sense without paying a high price. So for example, like the t-shirt I'm wearing here is from the World Cup 1994. So it's like an old t-shirt. I've never seen anyone wearing the same t-shirt. So you get that sense of feel. And I feel like vintage clothing is a lot better quality because that's how it lasts. So
were you even born in 1994?
No, 1997.
Okay, yeah. So like, I remember that. I'm guessing he probably doesn't remember that.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, it's like, I get that. It kind of, it's like antique. It's unique. It's one of a kind, and it's not necessarily one of a kind, but there's not somebody else in the class that's going to be wearing the same thing by any means.
And then another way you could sell the clothes and stuff was there's things called consignment stores that they have in a lot of them in New York. So the vintage clothing, there's a market for. So you could go to stuff like, you've probably heard of Buffalo Exchange.
Buffalo Exchange, sure.
And then there's ones called like Round 2, and there's a few other ones. So you could come with your bags of clothes and you come to the desk, and obviously they value. They can either give you cash or store credit. So you could just sell your cheap. So for example, I found an Elton John 93 t-shirt, like band t-shirt. I took it to the shop Round 2 in New York. I got it for $2 and I sold it for $120.
Wow. Incredible.
And like they will sell it for like $200, but obviously for me that's still an incredible margin. So to me, I can't complain.
That's real money. That's real money.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's insane how much people will pay for some of these pieces.
That's another thing. It's kind of like treasure hunting too.
Yeah, I enjoy. That's why I love. And then I make videos of me finding the clothes, so then I get paid for the videos for YouTube. So then it's like, and then obviously people see the clothes I got in the video, and they're like, "Oh, I want to buy that." So then I put it on my website, and then they go, "Oh, I'll buy that for your website."
This is so interesting. So you're doing photography, and I think you have videos of the photography too, right? On your YouTube. Yeah. So you're doing that. You're doing the videos. You're doing the consignment flipping, and then you're taking the content of your actually doing it. So you're making money as a photographer. You're making money as buying vintage clothing and flipping it.
Yeah.
And then the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and then I also do obviously influencing, which is so I get brands sending me clothes for free, but I charge a rate. So I've set up a few. Have you heard of a retainer? You've probably heard of a retainer.
Yeah.
So I have a few brands that send me clothes every month for free, and I produce them 4 photos and a feature in a YouTube video for a set payment every single month. So I have constant money as well and constant clothes. So then I always have content for my Instagram, so that continues to grow. I have more clothes to make videos, and then if I don't like the clothes, then I can sell the clothes, and there's like no cost.
That's incredible. So the suit that I'm wearing right now, my Pac-Man suit.
Exactly.
It was sent to me by a brand named Oppo Suits, and they send me suits. I wear them. It kind of fits my brand. Some of them.
100%.
I've got a Spider-Man suit too, so it's kind of fun. And you get how does a person get partnerships like that?
Brand deals. So that's the whole thing. So people worry about that you need a number of followers to get a brand deal, which is definitely not true. For example, you just have to. Obviously, everything in business is about providing value. So if you can provide the company value in some sort of way, then they will obviously reward you back. For example, I've just set up a second YouTube channel with like a traveling channel, and we basically did something that no one's ever done before. We traveled to 10 countries in 10 days for only £100.
10 countries in 10 days for £100.
Yeah, that's what we did. 10 countries, 10 days for £100.
This is clickbait because now I want to ask you, how did you go to 10 countries in 10 days for £100?
So basically, we were planning to do like 7, and then we found this company called Flixbus. So they're like one of the biggest bus companies in Europe, kind of like Megabus, but in Europe, even though it's Megabus. And we planned out a route, and it costed, with student discount, you get 10% off. It was £99 to go to 9 journeys to go to 10 countries. So we did London, Paris, Frankfurt in Germany, Prague, Slovakia, Slovenia. We did the other 2. I've missed one out there. But we ended up and then we flew back from Venice in Italy for £19.
Wow, that's incredible.
So we proposed like the idea. We bought the tickets first, but then we emailed the company being like, "We've got this idea, 10 countries. No one's ever done it. We'll use your service." So we proposed like a big email, made an itinerary, sent it off to them, and then they've refunded us the whole trip, and then they gave us like free tickets to give away. So we went on the trip for free.
That is brilliant, man. Brilliant. And how many subscribers did you have on that YouTube channel when you made that?
Yeah. We didn't have any. None. So we got branded with 0 subscribers.
Okay, this is amazing. So what was more compelling to them was not how many subscribers you had, but the value proposition that you gave them.
Because the idea was never been done. So like, as you said, you were amazed when you didn't believe it. You thought it was clickbait, but the video isn't clickbait. We actually did it, and we used their service. So obviously helping them with this, and they loved the video.
Yeah, that is incredible. So a lot of times it's not about how many subscribers you have, but it's a compelling content that you can provide for them, a story, something like that will catch their attention.
Exactly, something that will catch their attention and they think will benefit them. Because obviously, followers do help because obviously you get more reach with your business, but some obviously influencers nowadays are just expecting free things because of their followers, not actually doing the content. So I feel like people get disheartened by it, but you definitely can get free stuff if you just put in the, obviously do something that's different that no one's done before and add value. Obviously that add value to the company, so they trusted us. At first they were a bit skeptical, but we put in more work and we made them an intro like for the video before it's even made, and then they saw that and they were like, oh, these guys are obviously being serious. They've gone out of their way to do extra effort before getting the deal.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So when you are trying to make an arrangement like this, how do you contact these people? Who do you contact? How do you find out who to? So
that is actually, this one's actually a funny story. So we obviously did the normal email and no reply, and then we got we managed to get one person in the company who recommended us like the influencer email. So we emailed that, and they said they'd never done a YouTube partnership before, and this is the biggest plus company, and they were still having none of it. So I went on LinkedIn, found every single person who was like a high up in the company, emailed every single one of them, and then found the social media manager. And then she just loved the idea, so she was just like, yeah, I'm going to take it to the team. And then she just had faith in us. Rihanna, this woman.
Brilliant. So you tried, because that's a lot of times is these companies, they have that influencer at thenameofthecompany.com.
Yeah.
All of these emails, they get thousands of emails sent to them, like, and it's basically, hey, give me free stuff because I'm an influencer, and it's just like delete. It's just it's getting delete. So you went the extra mile and found them on LinkedIn message.
Yeah, because we knew the idea was that good. Like, you were amazed how amazed you were about it. We knew they would be, so we were just like, we've got to find them and tell them this idea because it's too good for them not to know.
Yeah, well, fantastic, incredible ideas. Okay, so for the average college student that is, maybe stuck working after hours at a restaurant or something, and it just they dread it, what would you tell them to do for a side?
So you need to have how to make extra, because making extra money on the side just makes you so much like happier. And now, like, I quit my part-time job because I was making the money from this. And the things people don't realize is we actually have so much. Even though you do work a lot, you still do have a lot of free time. It's just what you do with the free time. So, for example, that's why I started the YouTube channel. Is I started it when I was 17, and when you're younger in high school, for summer holidays you get so much time off.
Sure.
And people obviously, you go out and have fun and stuff, but I thought I want to do something productive. I didn't expect it to go where it was now. I just did it for a bit of fun. But if you do something, any hobby that you enjoy, you can turn that into money, especially nowadays with the internet, because there's so many different ways that you can use your skills to make money. For example, the clothing, what I got into, and then suddenly got into the vintage clothing and realized how cheap charity shops, thrift stores are, and then realized how much money you can actually make in that market. And I feel like you can do that with, for example, the photography. I'd never got into photography until I was in America. That's when I started it, just because I realized, it's not, you can learn everything from the internet. I'd never done a photography lesson or anything.
Yeah.
And just learn it.
Now people are paying you. That's the beauty of the internet. And obviously it takes some work. It's not just sit back and wait for it to come to you. You got to go out and chase it. You got to get it.
Yeah, 100%. Would you have any recommendations for me to, because what do you specifically do? I know you do online consulting, but what else?
Yeah. So my specialty is internet marketing, and I help people build courses, programs, and do training and teaching. And a lot of times people ask me, what would you do if you could go back in time and you could change things? What would you do? And it always comes down to this. Number one, get a mentor. So connect with someone that is doing stuff that you want to do and where you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now. So get a mentor, find someone that you can just give value to and you can learn from them. And then secondly, one of the things that you mentioned doing is go to events, go to networking places, go to places where successful people are.
Yeah.
If you're just hanging out the places where people are just wasting time, well, that's what you're going to do, is waste time. But if you go to places where people are successful, there's high networked people. There are people that are doing big things in business. You go there, and if it's just a photographer, if it's just, you know, just shake hands. Nobody, you can go there flat broke and hang out with millionaires and still make money. You know what I mean? So it's about building relationships and connecting with the right people. So
when you first started, when you were younger, what mentor field did you go for then? How did you go about getting your mentor?
Yeah, so I tell you what I did is I started reaching out to people very much like what you did but in the marketing field. Is I reached out to celebrities and big companies and individuals that were in the marketing entrepreneur space, and I saw, hey, they're missing something. I knew enough to say I could help them, and then I just said, hey, I want to help you for free. Let me do your stuff for free. And then you start getting them results, and next thing you know, they're like, hey man, this guy's making me some money. Then they're like, I want to pay you. I want to pay you.
You show your worth. Yeah, exactly. That's why I mean with the photography side, you show how good you can be in that field, and then you can make money from it.
Yeah, awesome. Hey man, so I tell you how we normally conclude here is I ask you a series of just random, funny, unique questions. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's just your answer. Whatever you give is the answer. Are you ready for it?
Go on then, let's go.
Okay, Flash or Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, all day long.
Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
To go back in time, actually.
Go back in time. Okay, so I get that answer a lot. So I have a follow-up question for that one. If you could go back in time, anywhere, any place, where would you go and what would you do?
Go back in time. Oh, it's a hard one, you know?
He wants the superpower, but he doesn't know where he's going to go.
I didn't thought that much into it. It's an instinct. So hard on the spot. I should know this. I want to do something life-changing, not something so simple. Oh, I'd have to have a think. I'm actually not sure. On the spot. Play for England and score in the 1966 World Cup. That'd be a good one.
Okay. Cool. I mean, like, there's a lot of different things that you could do. I asked one guy, and it was kind of like, go back in time and buy a bunch of Bitcoin 20 years ago or whenever.
Oh my God, yeah, that's smart, yeah.
So cool. Your favorite meal to eat?
Favorite meal to eat? I would have to say it's probably Mexican food, like burritos.
Mexican food. Man, I have a follow-up question for that one now.
Yeah.
Okay. A penguin walks into your room right now, and he's wearing a sombrero. What does he say?
What? Is this a trick question? I'm not sure. Hello.
Hello. Okay. But he could say hola because he's wearing a sombrero. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, man. What inspires you?
Inspires me? I think seeing other people succeed in the field that you want to do well in. So it's like kind of having like a role model, which is quite a lot of thing that inspires other people. So seeing other entrepreneurs like yourself making a living from doing like what they love. I feel like you're obviously programmed when you're younger to go to college, get a job, do the 9 to 5, which is really what I don't want to do, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm still at college, but I just wanted my degree for insurance and then I want to go do my own thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, man, you're doing awesome stuff and just, man, really cool ideas. A lot of great value here. If people want to follow you, they want to find out more about you, where can they do that at?
So my Instagram page is called Dom Hadley _ DomHadley _ and my YouTube channel for my fashion videos is called Payday Pickups, so Payday and then Pickups. My business is called Payday Vintage for vintage clothing. And then my second new channel, the one with the 10 countries, is called 2-1, so TWO and then the number 1.
Fantastic. Well, hey man, keep it up. Keep up the hustle. Keep up the grind. You're doing amazing things. Thanks a lot for being on the show today.
Perfect.